Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your host, Ian Carlos Crawford. Today, Ashley could not make recording, so I do not have my co-host, but I am joined for Miss Marvel episode 4 by two lovely guests. First up, I have YA author
Sara Farizan. Hi.
Hi, Sara.
Hi.
And senior correspondent at Vox.com,
Abad-Santos.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
It's been a minute since you've been on.
I know. It's because I was mean last time.
You were. Do you know that I had two people DM me to be like, are all your friends with abs hot?
You mean mean?
And like, are all your friends with abs mean? And someone was like, boy, those hot guys were really rough on you. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, now I'm nervous.
Now I have to have a reputation.
Now, Alex, for the most part, Alex is a sweetheart.
No, I'm really excited to speak with you, Sara, because I have some YA questions. Because I feel I feel like this show is so YA, and I think I feel like a lot of the sentiment, like my primary thing with the show is I'm just like, who is it for? Is it for like someone who like me grew up and it was just kind of like, oh, like I never saw myself and I want to live my teen this imagined the best teen years ever.
I think it's a really wide range. Like I could see even other than the deaths and stuff, like some of the violence, I could see like a 5-year-old watching this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's really so
and it's also like teens make me feel super old now. And
yeah,
so I'm
but
just
it's because
do we like the same thing? Do me and teens like the same thing? Maybe.
I think with writing YA, the older I get, I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to still do it? But mostly it's like writing to, I feel like young people ask questions all the time. And Kamala is doing this in this episode too. And as adults, we kind of don't really do that as much. So that's fun to write too. Like the young, asking questions, like, why are things like this? And why don't you talk to mom or grandma? And those are really, I like writing for that age group for that reason.
Yeah. And also it would be like, why hasn't she asked this before? If she were like a 25-year-old asking, it makes sense for however, do they say definitively if she's 16 or 17?
She's a junior in high school, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because she met with the guidance counselor, who I recognized from Instagram videos. Remember,
wait, really?
I don't know who the actor is, but he was I would always see him, and my friend would story Instagram videos. So he was making funny jokes and things.
It makes me feel just like an old, decrepit little skeleton when I see this man who's younger than me be the principal, and I'm just my principal was always 85 years old and Mr. Vini.
Yeah, I think he's the guidance counselor, so that makes it a little better. And Mr.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I did have that same thought, Alex. It's like, oh, I love that he's a capital F faggot. That's my favorite thing about the they let him just be this. He feels like a Brooklyn gay. But yeah, then I'm like, ooh, he's probably 10 years younger than me.
Yeah. There was never anyone that young at my high school ever.
I think,
obviously the students, but there was no authority figure.
Coach.
I did once, and it was a disaster. We had this very attractive former popular girl as our math teacher.
Oh dear.
And it was so weird because she was very nice. She was a very nice teacher, but she was terrible at disciplining. And the students would flirt with her, and she would definitely flirt back. No. And I would be like, should I leave? I remember staying after for math tutoring, and the jock stayed because she was hot and to flirt with her, and everyone was flirting after class. And I'm like, I'm 16 and very gay, so I have no interest in being here anyway.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do math, guys.
Yeah.
I'm really invested in math in my future. So if
I was here for extra credit.
Yeah, not that kind of extra credit. I've seen how those movies go. I just want to learn. Don't get in the way of my learning. Yeah.
But so, Sara, again, as a YA author, I am curious, what have you felt about the series so far, / what did you think of this episode?
Well, I think it's so great. I mean, I love Kamala. She's so sweet and she's so funny. And she's going through any regular teen stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Where do I fit in? Not just at home, but at school. And now I have these powers, right? So that feels very Peter Parker
Yeah.
There's just like an extra element of stuff that we haven't always seen in mainstream culture, which is like she's from an Eastern cultural lens, which is really great. And it feels so like fun and bright, and I'm mostly a DC girl. So it's interesting to watch like a Marvel, like I'm like, oh, this is so much more fun. There's no like psychological terror. There's no sort of like, even if there's emotional stuff, it's very sweet, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the mom wants to make sure she's okay. And like, why are you keeping your powers a secret? It's not like, you know, my parents were shot in front of me in an alley and now I put on this weird suit and, you know, so I've really enjoyed it. And like Alex was saying earlier, like, who is this for? Like, I'm sure there are a lot of adults that are like, man, I wish I had this as a kid. And I think it's just so nice to have like a fun show that the whole family can watch and have it be about someone that isn't always represented, and that they're giving you like breadcrumbs of history also without it being too expository. So like a kid can look up partition. And like can look up the history of like Pakistan and India and like British colonialism without it being like, and then we did this, and then this happened. And I think that's really cool.
You know, I pointed that out. I talked about that specifically, I think in episode 1 or 2, how I really like that they don't pause to explain to you what, like, you know, the mom calls Kamala Beta. And at first I thought that was like a specific nickname for her. Cause like,
no, it's like, I mean, I'm not Pakistani, but I imagine it's like the same. Like I'm Iranian American, Persian American, so it's the same as like June,
right?
Like, or in Spanish, I'm sure it would be, you know, another like.
Well, that's the thing. In Spanish, it's like there are 1,000.
Right.
Like I didn't realize that. Like I never realized that till I moved to New York, because like the slang my grandma had was not the same as like I would say these words, but what are you saying?
But also different countries too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like her, like my grandma grew up poor, so she had like her Puerto Rican, like and grew up poor in Puerto Rico, so her Spanish slang was more like culturally that, I guess. And then like when I've used it in front of other Spanish speakers, they've been like, what? But yeah, no, the show is just, so fun. And but something like that, Beta, I'm like, oh wait, the grandma says it. Oh wait, the aunties say it. And like, they don't need to like spoon feed it to you. They can just like keep going with that
also stuff. It makes sense if you're getting in the day in the life of a kid, right? And this is their day in life.
Yeah.
Like, it would totally make sense. Like, she's not breaking a fourth wall.
Right.
She's not explaining to like a Western audience, like, this means that, or like someone who is not Pakistani American or what have you.
Well, so I feel it's the same way with the food. Like a lot of there's so much food in this show, and it's just like, we're not gonna explain it to you, which is great, because it was just like growing up, like being Filipino, it's just like, well, when I saw kids eat fish sticks in commercials, like there was no explanation. It was just like, oh, this is normal. Or like
there is a jingle like, just Gordon's fisherman. I'm like, he looks nice. Yeah.
Or like meatloaf, right? Like I had to like adjust and like figure out like what like a meal is. Or what like an American meal is. And it was really funny because I was just like, I remember one time being like, I went to a friend's house and I never had a mashed potato, and it was just like,
really?
And it was like, oh, like I was like, wow, mashed potatoes are great. And but it was also like, there's no explanation on TV that I watched that was like, this is what a mashed potato is. And it's kind of nice that it's just like the same thing with Kamala and her family. And it's just like, oh, like even in this episode where she has the is it an excruciating spicy or like a spicy little
I forget
what is it? It's like a pastry. It's like a savory pastry.
Yeah, savory puff.
Okay, yeah, because the thing I do like about that too, because I I always like relate to like, I forget what it is that there's like a word she doesn't get, and like the fact that she doesn't know all the like food, like that's. We're always like in my family, my dad's everything white. He's like Scottish, British, French, Italian. And my mom is like just Puerto Rican. So like, but we only really like see the Puerto Rican side. Like as a kid, that was, that was the food.
Moms rule the nest, right?
Right. And like, I would be the one that's like, what is this? And like, I don't know if I'm gonna like. I remember the first time I watched my grandma eat like the parts of a chicken, and she's like eating the heart, and it looked like a scene from a horror movie to me as a kid. And she was like, "You sure you don't want to try it?" And it's like all gross looking, and the fucking heart. And I'm like, "Ew."
But to be fair, if your dad like brought out some haggis,
yeah,
when you have the same reaction, be like, "What is that?" Like,
also true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what we're all kind of dancing around with is like the whole idea of being like a first generation immigrant, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all like, oh, like this is like her experience, but it's also like there's so many like parallels to my own experience. Like even like when they go back to Pakistan and she meets up with her cousins, and I totally did the same thing when I like went back to Manila and met up with my cousins, and it was like, wow, my cousins are so cool. And it's like, but it's also like going from being part of like a minority to being part of the majority. And it's just like you go to Pakistan and everyone looks like you, or you go to the Philippines and everyone looks like you, or you go to Iran and everyone looks like you, and it's crazy. And it's just like, this is happening in a Disney show.
Yeah. But I also feel, and I don't know if Kamala really felt this, sometimes she did, but I felt like, someone who's been to Iran, I probably won't go back, but, you do look like everyone else, but they immediately can tell you're not one of them.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it's like the deer in headlights look when I'm trying to cross the street, or like, I'm not sure what that is, but like they can tell. Yeah. And even speaking the language, like you have an accent. Like, I don't know. It's just really interesting to be like.
Right. Well, it's also like the whole idea of like, you're never really home. Like, it's like, it's like you can be in America and still feel like an outsider. And then if you go home, or like you're alleged, like, or like where your parents are from, or like, it's just like, it doesn't feel the same. You still feel like an outsider, even though like.
There was a line her cousin said when they're in the like bazaar area, or like the market area.
I loved her cousins, by the way.
Yes.
And one of them says ABCD, and then she immediately knows it's like American-born confused Desi.
Yeah.
And I at one like chuckled a little, because like, sure, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, right? Being born here, about my own heritage, and you try, but like there's so much that you don't know. But also the other side of that coin is like, it's so like fraught sometimes emotionally, where not like, but like, like I want to learn and I want to know stuff and whatever, but I also am really, really comfortable like watching Netflix in my house, like going to a Taco Bell drive-through. You know what I mean? Like there's I really liked that this episode, like we met the grandmother.
Yeah.
And we could see the grandmother and the mom's relationship, and how it's different from Kamala and the mom's relationship, and like all the sort of family intricacies. And that it's so interesting to see like a superhero show like
do this, right?
Well, they do it. Like they'll have intergenerational trauma, right? Like they're superheroes that like, my dad was this, or my mom was this, and now I have to do this burden. But they've never really done it from like a cultural, unless someone's an alien or something.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been really nice to be like the powers are the thing that she's confused about, but it's not like who she is. It really isn't. I mean, she has questions like any teenager, and like, what am I going to do with my future, and who am I? It's not like, and also like, just imagine being a teenager and being like, this weird jelly stuff comes out of my or whatever it is. I'm not sure the actual term, but like, that.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, what's kind of funny is that there's this whole, I mean, I pick up on it just because I have to watch all this stuff for work, but it's also like,
what a job.
This story isn't that different from like Turning Red, which I don't know if you've seen.
I did, yeah, you're right.
But it's also a little bit like Encanto.
Yes, yeah.
and I'm trying to, there's probably like a few more, and it's all about like, it's like, wow, first generation kids who are now making art for Disney are basically like, wow, my childhood kind of sucked. It was like, it would be really nice if my mom was nice to me and talked to me sometimes so that we could like, I wish we got it out of the way at 13 versus at like 37 or 38.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Well, Alex, that's funny because I feel like the last time we recorded was for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's what that's about, right?
That's what I mean. It's very similar. It's a lot of like a lot of first generation immigrant kids are just like, wow, our parents were dealing with a lot, and now we're finally like making art about it.
Like we're reflecting as adults how hard that must have been.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
and it's just like we would like to say sorry and apologize, but also get like apologies too.
Yes,
and like our fantasy is basically mom being nice to us and saying sorry for being mean.
But I think but Kamala's family, like, yes, there are things that they don't talk about or that are difficult, but they're so sweet and they're so supportive. And I think seeing that too is so great, right? Where like that the family unit is such a big deal, and it's really very heartening.
It's very clear that her mom acts in a way out of love, even though like it might not be fully understood or fully feels correct all the time, every single time.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that the mom has been a little bit unbalanced for me, because it felt like I kept thinking of like my mom, right? And like, I don't think my mom would have let that go so easily. I mean, like, yeah, we'll get on a plane and we'll be okay. My mom would have been yelling at me the entire fucking time. Like, there's no way my mother would ever say the words, "Let's have a truce" to me. Like,
yeah, you ruined your brother's wedding. Like, right? But I also think because when we see them land, like the mom's not really at ease being there, like with her mom.
Yeah.
So that might be kind of a thing. Like, yes, I'm still mad at you, but I also need you to back me up because
like she needs the backup. That's fair. And we meet the grandma, and I am such a sucker for like a sweet grandma because this is how my dad's mother, who is still alive and is 99, is like, you know, very conservative, very Christian, very all those things. And my mom's mom was very like this, where she was like, she always had my back. She lived nearby. She would like make me hold her hand and be like, "Oh, we're dates," to like whatever party. When I came out, she was like, "Okay, I made empanadas. Do you want them?" Like, you know, very this type of jokey grandma. And so like immediately I'm like, "Oh, I love her grandma." And like, it's just so cute because like, I also think of, you know, like when I came out and my grandma was fine about it. My mom and my aunt being like, you know, mommy wouldn't have been that cool if we had come out back in the day. And I was like, all right. So she changed her, you know, she updated. That's okay. You're allowed to do that. And so like, there is a part of like, you know, like this grandmother might've been strict with her daughter and that, you know, there was a rift there, but then once it's the grandkids, you're kind of like, I just love you, or you're a grump and cold. You know, one of the two.
I just saw it as a little different in that Nani, when she's talking with Kamala's mom, whose name I'm forgetting, I feel bad, but Mrs. Khan, let's say, like Kamala's mom is sort of like, I needed a mother, but you were too busy with like all these theories and all this stuff. So like, and I don't like in the beginning of the show when she's like, when the mom says to Kamala, "I don't want your head in the clouds like your grandmother." You know what I mean? Like that was dangerous. So it's more, and that the grandmother has the talk about like identity stuff. Like, I don't really know who I am either, but I've got time to figure it out, which is such a good message for teenagers and in general. Yeah. So I feel like the mom is the nervous one, like cleaning all the time, like a lot of guilt about maybe you should live with us, like clearly not ran away, but like left, you know? So, relationships are tricky, but I like that they're not so black and white on this show.
Yes.
I mean, the love is felt and like you feel that everyone cares about each other, but
I mean, also for me, I think what's fascinating about this is that my parents are now at the age where it's like they're grandparents and it's just like, they're so nice to the, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, like if they're not your kids, like there's this whole like freedom that you have to be like a person that it's like that you want to be. And it's just like watching, I think that helped me understand what's going on with Kamala and her mom, and then Kamala's mom and her own mom, right? Like it's just like, oh well, like where was this person when I was growing up? And it was just like, I think there's like something similar going on with like my parents. Like me and my brothers and my sister will be like, where was this mom when we were growing up? Like they were just like, oh, have ice cream all you want, just play video games, just here's whatever you want to do. Like, and I'm like, she was never like this with us. And it's like, and now and my sister's it's just like, oh no, my daughter is gonna love grandma more than me. What a traitor. But I think that's like the nature of it. If it's just like you don't have this crushing responsibility of a child,
right?
Like it's a lot easier to be like when you have that like distance, and it's just like, oh, it's like I'm going to treat my grandkids like my grandkids. I'm not going to treat them like my own children.
Well, you don't have the constant worry, I guess. Like,
yeah.
You know, but also like it was nice between Nani and Kamala's mom, where, you know, Kamala's mom is cleaning up, tidying up. Like, why do you have all these caramel toffee boxes or whatever? And Nani's like, well, you loved toffee, so I thought if I had some, you'd come back or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was like, man.
Right. That was like a very sweet. Everything, all the family stuff.
But also so guilt laden and like, ugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing I did want to. So okay, they're there. They're at Nani's.
Kamala's mom is named Muniba.
Muniba. Thank you.
I definitely, there are so many characters on the show that I'm like Kamala, Bruno, when it comes to anyone, and Cameron because
Brian.
he's hot.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
I just call him Kamala and her boyfriends.
Also fair.
No, her friend is Nakia.
Right. Yes, I know Nakia too.
Bruno, who's miscalled Brian by Kamala.
Yeah, I call him smart boyfriend, and then there's hot boyfriend, and then there's fighter boyfriend.
Yeah. No, I was saying now there's superhero boyfriend.
Kareem. That's his name.
Yeah. So this episode we get the thing that the show for me is having a little bit trouble with is like the melding of the two plots. And this episode kind of exemplified that because it's like her mother is very strict and her mother, you know, is like, make sure you're back before this time. But I was like, oh shit, she's going to get in so much trouble training with the Red Dagger guys. And then like it, you know, her mom was just like, oh, did you have a nice day? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, like I don't know, but I love the family stuff so much that I almost don't need the superhero stuff.
Well, I also felt cheated. I was like, where's my training montage?
Right. Yeah.
I love the training montage. It's one of my favorite things. Like,
but so she gets there and she kind of, I like that her grandma immediately is like, you know, she sees her grandma's artwork and her grandma talks about partition. And I think this show does really well because like I said, I don't love, you know, I've read books centered around like Hispanic characters, right? And when they pause to explain, oh, she called me this in Spanish, so this is the best. Like, I hate that. I don't need it. So I like that, you know, this is a culture that I don't know all this stuff, but I'm learning it. Like the way they talk about partition is like, it makes sense story-wise, the way they're talking about it. And you learn about it as they're talking about it, but it's not just exposition dumping, I feel. But I like that immediately the grandma, Nani, is like, yeah, you're a djinn. Yeah. All right. Like, I just love how like casual she is about it. And how Kamala's like, wait a minute. And she's like, oh, you're focusing on the wrong thing. So what? Like she was very like, so what? Who cares about it?
Well, like that's in any kind of like, I don't know, you think about Clark Kent, like when he's a teenager, like Jonathan and Martha are like, you know, we found you in a cornfield next to the spaceship. You know, like I don't think they give
MBD.
her. Yeah, and then you would think that like there wasn't too much of a beat to take that in, but maybe that slows down things, you know, like.
But no, I mean it though. I'm not being sarcastic. I did like that.
I know.
Okay.
but yeah, just interesting that like I like that Nani's sort of like very secure in who she is, even if she doesn't always know what that is, you know?
Yeah, like she's like very aware.
Yeah.
And I love a smart grandma character. You know, and I just thought it was like really well done the way she talks about it, and also like you felt bad for the grandma, right? When Nani's talking about, you know, this is the only picture.
Yeah.
What was it?
Her mom Aisha is the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. The great grandmother.
And how she had to like she painted what she remembered so that way it wasn't all lost because they lost so much.
Yeah.
I thought those story beats are really well done. Like I can really appreciate that this story feels like, it almost feels like we put, I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I mean it as a compliment. Whatever I'm trying to say, it's like the family stuff is just so well thought out and like well done. For a story that, we only have 2 episodes left. So it's like, I'm a little bit like, I don't know where we're going with the superhero stuff, but the family stuff feels like very tight.
Yeah. I think too, like any show where there's a big location change. So like, I was talking to Alex about this earlier, like in Stranger Things, like when 11 goes to, in season 2, there's an episode where she just leaves Hawkins.
Oh yeah,
goes by herself to like Chicago.
That like weird backdoor pilot episode that didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
It's interesting and I enjoy it and it's fun and like that could be a spinoff, but it does kill the momentum of like whatever else was happening the past couple episodes. So yes, I think we need to learn more about Aisha's history and the Jinn group's history and the Red Daggers. Like we need all that stuff if that's more to come, But I think sometimes if I don't know, it can feel like the problem with these short miniseries is they're really great, but there's no room for filler.
Yeah.
So if you have like a sweeps episode, like they go to Miami or like moonlighting in Vegas or like whatever the show was that like they'd have like or like any of those ABC family shows like Full House and Boy Meets World where they went to Disney World, which was like cross promotion of like
Didn't Michelle Tanner get lost in Disney World? Wasn't that the Disney episode?
Did. I liked the Boy Meets World one where like, he finds Topanga to tell her that he loves her, but like Stacey Keenan is there from Step by Step and she's feeding some dolphins. And it's unclear if she's playing Dana from Step by Step or if she's just like a dolphin trainer. I'm sad that I remember all this, but
I was going to say, I am impressed that you fucking remember that.
But those special episodes where they go somewhere, right? I mean, this is different because it's a part of the larger story and history and family and stuff. But I think sometimes, to your point of it doesn't feel like it's melding well, they can sometimes like slow up the momentum of like, what's Bruno up to? What's Nakia doing with the school board or the Moss board or like, so yeah, those kind of things I can see how they might feel a little disjointed.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if Miss Marvel had her own movie, it'd be 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think like how you would pack all this into 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
And it seems impossible. But so part of me is like, whenever it feels like, I don't know, like, I think it's very hit or miss. Like, I think what was it? Captain America, Falcon, who turned into Captain America, Winter Soldier, was kind of like the worst parts of like this mini series format. But I also think Hawkeye was some of the best.
Yes.
And it's just like, I feel like this is probably trending more towards more Hawkeye than it is.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even like, sorry, but like Moon Knight. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
So I can't say anything about Moon Knight, but
it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Right, Alex? That's fair.
I mean,
like WandaVision's kind of like my favorite of all the,
like the hippo surfing. I was just like, I don't care. Like, I was just like, it was cool the first time. The magic hippo was cool, but I'm just like, I do not care anymore about this. I would like it to stop.
Yeah. By the end, it was like, all right, whatever. I'm always worried about the endings because I think Hawkeye is the only show that has like 100% landed like the ending.
Yeah, I can see that. Like maybe like WandaVision.
But even that, like the fact that like Darcy and Monica did like nothing and Jimmy like did like nothing in that finale and that Vision just kind of flew off and we didn't talk about it. Like those things like really bothered me.
Yeah, I feel like in like when you have like a miniseries thing, it's always like episode 5 is the big one. And then 6 kind of feels like the resolution.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, the 6 is like half of it's about like, oh, what just happened, and the other half is already is probably going to be setting up like, how is Ms. Marvel going to go meet Carol Danvers?
Yeah.
Also, like, I want to know, like, how famous is Carol Danvers that Ms. Marvel knows that Kamala knows everything about her? Like, are there articles? What's happening? Because because one, all this bad shit happened, right? Like the Eternals happened, WandaVision or Wanda happened, all this like Shang-Chi happened. Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel was not there. I want, but she has time for all these interviews, and it's just like all this like fan content, and I'm like, how is this happening? Why do they love her so much? But she's also like not around.
But also, this episode doesn't Kamala mention that? Be like, she's pieced out, but
yeah, she does. You're right, she does. Yeah. So she goes out with her cousin. First they go to lunch at this like very fancy boat club. I think that's what they say it is. Yeah. And I do like Kamala not knowing that you're not supposed to wear jeans and how she's sweating so much. And like, you know, one of the aunties comes to meet them and is like, oh, that's your name? Oh, you're really sweaty, is like very like snobby relative with Kamala. Then she goes off with her cousins and they split up, which immediately I was like, oh no, she's gonna get in trouble. Her mom's gonna be mad at her. I was really glad we didn't get another fight between her and her mom, though.
I kind of feel like your reactions to mom getting mad feels more about you than about Kamala.
No, I just feel like because Kamala keeps like doing these things and then getting blamed, and I want her to like feel good about like the fact that she saved that boy. And like, okay, I think they said his like leg broke maybe, or his ankle, but like she saved his life.
That boy was such a flop. Like it was like, you're getting your ass saved and you can't even stick a landing.
Right?
Come on, Carrie Strug. Let's get it together.
Ice cream pizza.
I mean,
interesting. All right.
I think I would need to eat that on the toilet, but like, I just like, I want Kamala to like, I don't want her to like get in trouble. Like, I always hate the weird. And like all superhero things do this, and like where it's like, ooh, they actually did that to save you, but they can't tell you, so everyone's gonna be mad at them. And I'm just like, Kamala's this like sweet teen, like dorky teen girl who I'm rooting for. I want her to have like a day where she's not disappointing like a family member because she can't tell them about her powers or whatever.
Well, with great power comes great responsibility, and also some groundings. I mean,
some grounding.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, her mom's in a like. I just want her to like thrive, is what I feel like.
Well, yes,
I did like. So then she gets a knife thrown at her, and I actually thought this was like a very cute meet cute for them. Her and Kareem. Does he have a name, Alex? Like a superhero name?
Oh no, he is fighter boyfriend.
Okay, fair. Fighter boyfriend.
Can I say one thing about the masks?
Yes.
So like Kamala has like a cute mask now, you know?
Yeah.
Like when superheroes like, I'm taking this serious, I've got a cute mask. Those masks, and she's not the only one. Like Batgirl has had a mask this, and you know, like you can see who that person is. I mean, I
like
know
you really can.
Right away. Like, yeah, who are we hiding? Like, imagine wearing that mask. I'd be like, Ian, like you? Why are you wearing that mask? Are you gonna like do some shit right now, you know?
Because like the one that he's wearing with his scarf over, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I remember coming out of lockdown, and I visited a friend at work, but was wearing my mask, and I hadn't seen the friend for like a year and a half, and I was like, hey, and he was like, hello?
Yeah. So you could also be a superhero if you so chose, you know?
I could be. But what did you guys, Sarah, what did you think of this little like meet cute fight?
It reminded me a lot of two of my favorites, Rogue and Gambit.
Ooh.
Kind of banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem is very Gambit-like, but also he's a younger person and also very Robin Hood-y kind of.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, and I like that it's a very different take from the other boys that she's interacted with.
Yes, they're all very different.
Yeah, but also her behavior around him. Like, sort of annoyance, sort of having a good time. Like,
she almost felt a little bit more confident with him.
Yeah, like he's maybe just like felt at ease, like they're teammates, or like you know, like her own thing with Bruno, that's like childhood friend, and like maybe there's something there. And then she's goo goo gaga over Cameron, you know. But
even
like,
though
this guy, he's, you know,
Cameron is like very clearly the like quote unquote hot one. I think
this guy's pretty hot too. They're all, you know, for teenagers. I think they all have
Cameron's like what, 30?
I know, yeah. That guy's like, yeah.
That guy is like 30, right? Yeah. Maybe 28.
They're all like in their that Cameron
isn't he also like 300 years old because he's a djinn. So
yeah.
No, wait.
Edward and Twilight stuff. Like, isn't he older?
No, I think. Don't they say something when they're explaining that he is not? He actually is. They say something like that's that way. It's like
because
not
his
creepy.
Mom is like old.
Yeah, she's like 300 years, or probably older.
Yeah.
But I like Kareem or Bruno for her the most now. Now I'm like, oh, I don't know who
Kareem isn't even a love interest; is just like a teammate, you know, big brother type, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have told you that you love Bruno. Anyone listening on this podcast could have told you. Yes, Ian, of course, loves Bruno so much.
Well, my worry with Bruno is that he's just teetering on the line of like, because getting jealous is totally understandable because he has a crush on her and she like doesn't see him like that. But I'm always like waiting for the moment for me to not like him anymore because I'm like, ooh, is he gonna teeter on incel? Like I'm waiting for him to be like, you didn't like me, so now I hate women, or some like, you know, incel shit like that.
Let me guess, is he surprisingly jacked? I have this like I haven't been paying close enough attention to Bruno.
Probably. I don't know if he is, but probably. Like, I feel like they all are, right? Like,
well, they're actors. I mean, I guess. But I don't know. I think Bruno too, and I don't, you know, I'm not as well versed in Buffy as you are. But doesn't he sort of feel a bit of a Xander kind of?
But better, not as,
of course, not as like
gross. Yeah,
right. But yes, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's why I worry, because I'm like, oh, I do like him, but am I gonna not like him in an episode? Because I'm waiting for it.
Be okay.
But so this is where it felt like sometimes the pacing of the superhero stuff is what I guess like where I have a little bit of an issue, but I still love it. Like I say that, but I love the series, and I feel like it's going to be probably right after Hawkeye. It's like WandaVision, Hawkeye, and this are like my favorites. But the superhero, like this all happens really fast. Like I like them like flirty fighting because, you know, she's not like in actual trouble once they're like chatting. And I like that she is at this point a little bit better at holding her own. But then it moves pretty fast, right? Because then it's like, oh, let me bring you to the Red Dagger hideout. And then they're like there and it's fine.
Yeah. We meet Waleed, who's like the head Red Dagger guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to show you what it's all about. But then we don't get a training montage. So I'm like, so we didn't get to see what it's all about. Like,
I mean, she did get the training montage in 2. Was it 2?
Yeah, but I just want more of them. I mean, you can never have too much in like an action show. And also I feel like this, like, I don't know. Do you guys agree that like kids could watch this? Like not teenagers, but, like younger kids. So maybe that also
plays into
has something to do with the pacing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? True. Like we need a bad guy fight. But you know what I mean? Like it can't all be like family story and a kid still have the attention span. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I mean, we're advancing the plot a lot with the superhero stuff, but I just kind of feel like
I'm not sure sometimes.
Or... Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
Do you mean like with the pacing, or
with how they go to like the Red Dagger hideout and then suddenly it's just like
fight time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But did you
like it? Like I mean, my gripe, I think when I was talking to Sarah earlier, I was like, yeah, I like 3 a little bit more than 4. I wish I was around for 3. 3, I got what happened to me. I can't remember. I had something happen.
Oh, you had a movie screening. I forget which one. Thor, right?
Thor was last night.
Oh,
forgot what it was.
Yeah, but yes,
but
you did have a movie
I can't go. But it was Lightyear. Maybe it was Lightyear.
What was that? Not that this has to do with the episode, but
yeah, I think that's what happened. But with this one, I don't mind it. I don't mind like the secret stuff, but it's also like obviously if there is this cohort of secret people that want to destroy the world by going back to their own home, of course there's this other cohort of secret people that have to stop them. And so it kind of felt it felt natural to me that it was just like, yes, this is the secret society that is supposed to stop the Jids from.
You're like, right. That's the secret society. That's the other secret society. Those are different from the 10 other secret societies we have already met.
Right. But I still want to know. I mean, and there's enough like fun clues about like the inscription, and he was just like, I never saw the inscription. I'm like, what does the inscription mean? I don't really know. And then the whole origin of her powers is different. And it's just this, I think with a lot of Marvel stuff, for me, it's just like, oh, I wanted to see how you translate comic books. I think a lot of it in my head, like when I watch a Marvel movies, I'm like, oh, how are you translating this comic book into a movie, and kind of graded on that.
Yeah.
But I think like, as we mentioned, Ms. Marvel is a very, very different when you read the comics and see this, because they got rid of the whole terrible Inhumans arc and completely, and Disney and Marvel want you to forget they ever existed and just like.
But they don't, because they put Black Bolt in fucking Multiverse of Madness. That's the weirdest part.
And then what did they do to him?
They clowned him.
They fucking made his head blow up, and they were just like, you're stupid, lol. And like, well, that was a big mistake, right? Like no one was just like, I would like to see that movie. Like no one was cheering, no one was going hard for Black Bolt.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's just like funny to me to watch this now and being like, oh, they're writing a whole new origin story for her. And I'm like going with it. And I think that's why I'm kind of like, oh, I want to see more. I want to see more. This is completely fine. I will take all of it. I just want to know more about this character. And I also want to know, like, are we going to see, like, every single time she uses her powers, I'm like, is it going to be like the comic books? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not.
There was, I forget which fight she was in, but there was a split second where I thought she did, like, stretch her arm out.
She did. Yeah.
She did a big one.
Wait, she did?
Yeah, with the big.
Well, she didn't say it, but like.
Oh, okay. I thought so, and then I was like, no, I probably just like saw that wrong.
It was this one where they threw the clotheslines.
Oh, shit!
You saw it. You know?
Oh, huh.
She fucking gives him a little punch with her giant arm.
I really thought it was just like, because my room is like a box. Normally I'm sitting at my desk. My TV is right next to my desk and I'm very up close. I watched this sitting on my bed, 2 steps away. And for me, that was like far enough away that I was like, oh, there's probably just the lighting. It looked like it was like skin tone, but it was actually her like pinkish, whatever.
Right. Wouldn't it be kind of fun to watch her just like go up against Thanos a little bit and just like start reeling off some punches and like, but I mean the whole thing, right? Obviously the people who listen to this are big comic book fans, and it's like it feels like they're kind of skirting around and like making room for Mr. Fantastic, because it was just like
stretching
all the mess that they put themselves in with the film rights and whatever, and the Inhumans and overlapping powers. Now they kind of have to untangle a lot of it, and it seems like, oh yes, these plasma-based light powers are a little bit different than the Inhumans shape-shifting powers that she had.
I will say also though, when she's like being told about the clandestines, I was like, he's gonna say Inhuman, or he's gonna say Eternals. He's gonna say one of them, but then he didn't fucking say that.
You know what I think is one of the opportunities missed is, without being a shapeshifter, without her being a shapeshifter, is like the whole there's a lot of comic book stuff where she kind of becomes Captain Marvel for a little bit, like she looks like Captain Marvel, and I think those are kind of what I missed the most, because I think that takes it to an interesting spot of what this character, or how, like what this character feels like, and like her internal like in struggle of being like, who am I? And it's just like, oh, like this actual like representation where she just morphs into like Carol Danvers and is a big, tall, beautiful supermodel army warrior woman who is 5'11" and blonde. It's kind of the thing. Like I was just like, oh, I guess we're never gonna get that.
Wow,
definitely not.
Really treat me a lot differently in the yeah. You mean I can go first in line? Really? Thank you. Wow. Yeah.
I will say it is kind of funny in the MCU that every woman is just basically a supermodel. Like there's except for Kamala.
It's but I think there's in comics that aren't in the I feel like we're gonna see more. I would like to think.
Yeah.
I mean more so in like other brands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I just love that she's like going through teenage stuff, but also it's very Peter Parker, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That Preeti Chibber said that on the first episode, how that's what she loves about Kamala, is that it's like a Peter Parker, but modern day, and, you know, not just a white guy.
Yeah.
And she's like very moderately horny.
Yes, which I appreciate.
But there's also like, I don't know if this is happening because I didn't see Multiverse of Madness, but like America Chavez was in it, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, are they setting up Young Avengers? So like,
oh yeah, I feel like they totally are.
Takes part, and then the other younger.
It seems like. Don't you see a future like TV show or miniseries with Kamala and
Kate Bishop?
Kate?
Yeah, they are both like the same level. They're both a lot alike in the best way. Like they're both like very fucking charming. I think Kate's not actually a teenager, right, Alex, in that show? I think they make her like 20-ish.
Yeah.
Like something.
I think so. Yeah, she's like, well, did she fucked up school, right?
Right.
She messed up school like her senior college.
Something. Yeah. Because she like shoots the bell or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like at least college age, but like they're all like around that age. And like, yeah, I'm very excited to see them interact. But okay, so she gets explained that the clandestines, I really thought they were gonna, I guess, and I have this issue with comics when I read them too, is that sometimes it's like this world ending thing conflicts with this world ending thing and this world ending thing. And I'm like, can we streamline some of this? And I wish like, it feels like just say Eternals or just say, like, we've already seen these people, rather than making it another secret society. And like you said, Alex, the bad one, and then the good secret society. And I'm like, should we streamline it? They'll all be the same secret society. That said, I still love Kareem. I love their back and forth. We see Kamran and his
Kamran, yeah.
Kamran. What are words? And his family being like put into like damage controls, whatever base. I was really upset when his mother left him. I was like, you just fought together? He just didn't want you to kill his friend, was all.
Okay, he was being a little bitch baby. If it's between life or death and she's 300 years old and she just wants to go home, you can't have anyone that's not right or die. It's just like, get on the ship or get out.
Yeah, she said you made your choice.
Yeah. No hard feelings.
Alex, that would be.
But like,
imagine if you were looking for this effing bracelet for 300 years and your little bitch baby son was like, oh, I'm my girlfriend.
He is.
Can you imagine?
Sarah, welcome to Alex.
Oh, it's great, but I think like,
I get it.
If they don't get home, right? They're just gonna stay in the bodies just searching the whole time. Like that's like, they can't just be like, you know what, let's take a break.
Right.
Let's recoup in like Tulum, Mexico.
She was just like, it's showtime. She's just like, I need to get on this flight. We need to go.
You made your choice.
We need to get back home. And he was like, and yeah, like, I mean, I told you don't have to like it, but I get it.
So you're equating it with like a kid that's been taken to Chuck E. Cheese. The mom's like been sitting at Chuck E. Cheese forever, being like sat through the whole mouse show and the tokens and the skee ball. And she's like, okay, it's time to go. And he's like, but I don't want to. I haven't gone to the ball pit yet.
No. I think it's more like it's the Nordstrom half-year anniversary sale, right?
Oh my gosh.
And you've been doing like, you've just been saving up. You've been like waiting. And then that morning, the baby throws up. And you're like, well, am I going to take you to the sale? Are we going to go? Like, we're not staying home. Like,
Alex, I love that's what you were equating it to, and leaving a baby at home because there's a sale.
Here's the travel.
Well, no, you're gonna have a lovely time with the babysitter. You can stay here, wait for me. I'm gonna go have fun at this once in a year thing.
Also, she has to think of the others, right? Because they all want to go home too. They're like, we want to stay here.
Everyone's trying to get back. So then we get the scene on the balcony with Kamala and her nanny, which I really liked as well. I mean, you touched upon it, Sarah. They talk about identity, and I thought this was like a really good speech, and the love between them is like very much felt too. And I like that even the nanny says to her, like, she gets a text, right? And Nani sees it, and she's like, "Go, be young. I'll handle your mother." And I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I love this like overly supportive grandma. And the grandma asked her if she found what she was looking for. And I kind of was like, but did she? I don't know that she did, right? Because she hasn't really been like fully explained. Like, she's been more explained with the people that are after her than like she's been explained like her own.
Well, grandma was like, "Yo, girl, come over. We need to find that train." And then she was just like, "Well, where's the train?" Like, Kamala was like, "I'm here. When are we going to the train?" And grandma's like, "Well, you're supposed to go by yourself, actually."
So we like see her meet the Red Dagger crew at the beach. It's a very cute. Like, I like that before she puts that food in her mouth, she's like, "Is it spicy?"
Yeah, they're eating biryani. I was like, I want biryani. It's delicious.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, she said, "Is there biryani?" And it's like in a paper bag, which I'm like, okay, cool. Like, to go, And I think food for, like, I've used it in my writing too. Like, I think it's such a way to bring people in. I mean, sometimes people, like, you have to like welcome them and be like, "That sounds good. I would eat that." Maybe I would get like to know more about this culture, right? It's such like a easy thing to show, like, hospitality and culture. But like, food is brings people more together than.
Well, this is why there was that big kerfuffle on Reddit when they were just like, "Oh, there's that thing in Sweden," when all those people. Did you guys know about this?
No.
Oh, this post went viral because like there was this post about like this Ask Me Anything or whatever, it was an Ask Reddit thing about like, what's the weirdest thing that happened to you when you were visiting someone's house? And this guy was like, yeah, I went to someone's house and they all went downstairs for dinner, left me upstairs and ate without me. And then someone was like, "Are you Swedish? That happened to me when I was in Sweden." And they were just like, "Oh yeah, I was in Sweden." And then he had all these Sweden people coming out and being like, "Well, sometimes we don't know who was coming for dinner, blah, 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 blah." And we're like, that is such a weird thing to me.
I forgot. Yeah.
And everyone from like, everyone basically, if you're from like an Asian, Latin, even American or like whatever country, they were just like, so our food is how we.
Was like, no way.
Like if you're Antarctican, it was just like if you like share with the penguins, and it was basically like, we share food because that's like our thing. We all eat a little less if someone's coming. It doesn't matter if there's 10 people who came unannounced. Right. We feed them.
It's just a human thing. Like,
and it's like, what the fuck is happening in Sweden that you don't? Sorry to the Swedish people who are listening and not feeding their friends dinner.
Wow, I'd not heard of that. But I'm sure that's not true of all Swedes.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
But I don't know. I like some Swedish cuisine, although I don't think I've had too much of it. So maybe that's why that is. They're like, we don't share it. We don't want to tell you about our stuff.
Alex, I had completely.
But it's so intrinsic though to like the human.
Right.
Like, to me, it's just like,
Can I get you anything? Would you like something to drink? Would you like?
Yeah. And then like everyone that comes to my house basically gets 5 pounds, leaves 5 pounds heavier because my parents are just like, eat this, eat that, eat more of this.
Yeah, that's how my mom is.
I also liked in one of the earlier episodes where like Bruno came over and his mom's like, "Oh, I already packed you like dinner to take," even though he wasn't. He just came in for a minute.
And like he even says he's like, "No, I'm not hungry," and she's like, "Okay, I'll pack you something." So we get the grandma and the mom have a scene, which I actually really appreciated that we gave these two characters a scene without Kamala.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Right? and I felt like we needed it too, right?
Yeah.
They don't quite hash out enough, but I feel like maybe they'll do more. Like I was surprised at how warm the mom was. Like I thought the mom didn't like the grandma, but it's not. It's kind of just like there's a weird rift, right? Because she's immediately like, "Oh, let me rub your leg. Your leg hurts."
Yeah. Well, they have their own secrets that have not been divulged to the audience or Kamala, right? Like,
right.
So like the mom has not been forthcoming about like what did happen with Aisha and why, you know. So, and that might be hard too to come back home knowing all those secrets, whatever they are.
Right.
Wasn't it? Sorry, I'm getting mixed up because I watched too many things. Wasn't there something in episode 3 about why the grandma doesn't come to the wedding and how she's hurt, right? But then she's like, I expect it. Did the grandma not come to her wedding? Was that it?
Correct. Yeah, she says that. Yeah.
Got it.
Because that's when I was like, that's why I thought, oh, they don't like each other. Because she does say, well, I wouldn't expect her to come to this wedding. She didn't come to mine. And like, that's the way the mom says it. So I was like, ooh, they don't like each other. But like,
I also feel like when the mom's like, you should come move here, she's like, no, I'm not going. So maybe she can't actually leave.
I was wondering that too.
Like,
I was thinking
resources or this is my home, but like maybe it's some part of the secret. Like,
right. That's actually exactly. I was waiting for Nani to say that, be like, I can't because XYZ with the powers, with the bangle, with the blah blah. Like I was waiting for there to be like but like all that aside, the scene didn't need a like supernatural sci-fi superhero element. Like I liked that it was just a mother and daughter kind of talking, and like, when Kamala's mom is like, all these theories that you wouldn't let go, that like everyone made fun of me at school, and the Nani's like, no, that's not true. That can't be true. Like she refuses to like believe that.
Yeah.
And like clearly that weighs on Kamala's mom, and like it's almost like which feels very real. They're like they're kind of talking at each other. She tells her to come live with her, and the mom's and Nani's like, oh, I thought you ran away from me. Now you want me to live with you. Like, it's very like no one's engaging. They're just like getting defensive.
Yeah.
Right. But that feels real, right? Like that's also real.
Basically, I think, Ian, you and I maybe agree on this, is like the family scenes are stronger than the action stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you'd like to spend more time with the family things than
yes.
Yeah.
And so the next day, we do get a little bit of Kamala getting a training montage. She's being trained by the Red Dagger Society. She gets that vest, which, like, I thought it was cute that it's like, we're almost there to the costume, right? It's like, we're getting there. And then the clandestines...
A mask that doesn't hide your face. Not a lick. I'd be like, Kamala?
Is that you? Yeah, that's you. I recognize you.
Hey, can I get you a gift card or anything? Like, that was so nice. Like, good job. Yeah. Can I send you a fruit basket?
So the clandestines ambush the training session. I will say, when they first like dropped in, I didn't recognize them because the lady they show, I don't know if it was Cameron's mom or the other woman, but like has a mask up, and because it's like the Red Dagger mask, those masks actually make it so you can't tell.
Yeah.
But
also, they didn't experience any jet lag. They got straight, like, she was literally
like, how did they get there? Did they fly? Are there powers? Like,
and if they brought the little bitch baby, he'd be like, I want to take a nap. She really needed to go. She was just like, we need to go. It's go time. We need this bracelet.
I can't wait for you to leave me behind, Alex.
She got off on that direct flight to Karachi. She found the little secret space. This is a businesswoman. This is an entrepreneur. This is a BITCH.
Yeah.
This is a BITCH. This is a grown woman who is 300 years old. She has no time for any of that. And he would have slowed her down.
A grown woman who is 300 years old.
Yeah. Pay me what you owe me. Bitch, better have my money.
So, Sarah, you remembered. What's the main guy from Red Dagger's name?
Waleed is the leader guy who gets stabbed.
So, Waleed was like, I was like, once he was like, no, go, and like put down the glass like shield partition thing, I was like, oh, he's gonna die here. And then he doesn't die, and then he's helping them get out, and I was like, oh, he's gonna die here. And then he doesn't, but then he does die at the end, and it felt like he was like dancing around dying.
I was like, Kamala, you gotta use some of your powers.
Right?
You gotta put a little wall up.
Where's the giant?
Give us a little sparkly wall.
Yeah. Where's like just make a chandelier and have it fall on.
Yeah. Do a Mars attack.
Yeah.
But I thought these were the best action scenes we've had on the show so far.
Chase scene, which is fun.
Yeah, I love a chase scene.
And the location of it is so great. Like,
yes.
It's an unfamiliar territory for her, but like, got to get away, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I liked once she did start using her powers, I thought it was cool. Like when she does the ramp, so the bus goes up it, which I was afraid that I was like, can it hold that truck bus thing? But it can. And when she uses like, she puts it on her leg at one point, right, to push them off.
Yes, yeah.
And I thought that was cool. It was like, oh, look, she can have like bigger strength if she puts it around her like appendages.
Yeah, use physics.
Yes.
Power of physics.
She also, that her power set kind of reminds me of, if you read comic books, Armor from X-Men.
Yes.
There's a little bit of armor in there, and I'm going to be very pissed if we don't get a full-on Armor, because the powers have been moved and swished and swapped around.
So then he's murdered in a pretty brutal way, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of surprised. That was a part when I was like, oh.
That was the only part that didn't feel kids show. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like, he's not just stabbed, he's stabbed and thrown off a balcony to land right in front of them. Like, but I did like Kamala and Kareem teaming up.
Yep.
When they it's like a last stand moment, and they're like standing there, and they like, I kind of thought we were going to have a jokey beat of like, oh, there was nothing behind the curtain, they got away. And I was glad we didn't, because I thought it was a cool fight scene, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Kamran's mom is brutal.
What's her name? I forget. I know. It's just Kamran's mom.
There's so many characters.
I know.
Alex, you're good with names. Do you know her name?
Let me just YouTube this for you.
Yeah.
YouTube it.
Alex is a journalist. We can Google it.
We can Google it.
We can all Google it.
Oh, not good.
Has an important link. Namja.
Okay.
There we go. Please edit this out. Please edit this out.
Namja. Yeah.
So then we get this like last stand. Kareem has killed one of the other guys in their group. She's real pissed. She goes to stab Kamala, and she's like stabs the bangle directly. And then what happens, Sarah?
I don't remember. What does happen? Stabs the Vision.
Yes.
The Vision. She's out on the train platform, but it's clearly from partition times.
Yes.
It's the last train going out. And
like to Karachi, right?
To Karachi, but right? Because it wasn't people trying to get out of I mean, I feel bad. I don't know the full history, but like, in any case, people are trying to get out of a violent situation, or what could be a violent situation.
Yeah.
So it's very emotional. It's full of people being like, will we fit on the train? I don't know. It's the last one going out. We have to be sure. So she's getting to see a real-time history of what that would have been like. So like really revisiting an intergenerational trauma, like in a vision, and going on the top of the train car and seeing like the expanse, and like how many people are trying to get to be on this train,
I did think that was like well done and heavy, right?
Yeah. But it's also so, I think everybody has family history that's heavy that maybe they don't want to think about, right? So if you also like, that's the really hard thing. Like, I have these cool like powers, and I can make these, I don't know, crystal platforms and like stretchy bouncy arms and all that, but like to then also have to revisit your family stuff, not even like, I mean, all these heroes have to deal with people suffering, right? Like they see really sad things, they see really violent things. But like when it's your own stuff, or people you care about, that's its own kind of like brutal thing.
Yeah. But I thought they did a good job of not. So I always think of. Did either I know you did, Alex, but I don't know if you did, Sarah. See, X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, I did actually.
Okay,
and so I was hoping like they'd give Olivia Munn more to do.
Oh no, she just got to pose. That's
it. I know, Psych-Lock. I know, I was really.
Oh my god, her outfit was so bad.
Yeah,
it's just like
missed opportunity in that movie, like just with that whole like rehash of X-Men, like
but also could you imagine like how bad that outfit must have been to make Olivia Munn look like she had like a gigantic like pelvis. Like it was just like, okay, well, this woman's basically a supermodel. She's like rail thin, and she's like, it still looks kind of horrible, and you're just like, well, maybe you think about it, like, sorry, I have very many feelings about X-Men Apocalypse, but like it was just like, maybe you think like maybe stuff that you draw on people that don't exist in real life isn't ever gonna work out on someone with real body proportions. Right? Like it's just like maybe Psylocke's outfit doesn't work. And like it's just like maybe she just needs some more pants. Maybe some pants. Maybe it doesn't need to get cut like that.
I've always really enjoyed in comic books that like with women's costumes, like their legs are so exposed and their chest is so exposed. And fair enough, like you want to look at sexy people and whatever. But like there's no armor there.
Right.
Like there's not even like a kneecap protector thing. Like if you fall, like when you're roller skating, none of that. Just like bare flesh, just like ready to be stabbed or laser-eyed or whatever. Like
or laser-eyed, yeah.
And it's also like a torso that's maybe 20 inches and then legs that are 65 inches.
Yeah. It's like... I mean, why not? You know, it's fantasy, but it's I
don't know if I've told this story in the podcast before, but in 6th grade in my English class, for extra credit, you could like do a like graphic novel. And I did like 2 kids who like encounter these superheroes, and I just like redrew like Psylocke and Emma Frost and Jean Grey because they were my favorite X-Men. And my teacher like brought me to the principal's office for drawing sexist like images of women. And I was like, they're the ladies in the comic books I like. And she was like, yeah, right. They have big boobs like that. And they do. And the teacher like definitely thought she was like doing something, but it's like, this baby gay doesn't give a shit. He just thinks these women are cool and like is drawing them the way they're drawn in the comic books.
You wanted me to read, didn't you? Well, I did. And this is the reading I enjoy.
Yeah.
And they happen to be busty ladies. You have a problem with busts? No.
Sounds like you're sexist.
Yeah, lady.
I mean, I had very similar. I got in trouble for my X-Men comics, and I was just like, oh, and I was like, I'm running around with like these like big breasted women in tiny outfits, like doing superpowers, and I had no idea. I'm like, they were just like, yeah, you're Alex, you're 12. They were just like, I was like, yeah, they're just pretty. They're just very beautiful women doing superhero things. I don't see the problem here. This one controls light thing.
They just don't have armor on their legs. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah. But Ian, you were saying about X-Men Apocalypse.
The reason I brought that up was because I always think of, and I don't remember who wrote the review for Vulture anymore. God, I forget who wrote, but said that Psylocke's outfit, wearing that at whatever like camp they go to, it's like a violation of the Geneva Convention.
Oh, like when they're in Egypt and they're in the pyramids?
No, when Magneto destroys the like monument, the like historical like where he was, the Holocaust camp where he was kept. I'm not sure if it's Auschwitz, but like one of them. And like she's wearing her bikini. Like I always think of that, and I'm like, superheroes aren't the best at like handling like delicate history things.
Yeah.
But this was like done well.
When she was in her bikini over at the concentration camp.
Yes. Wow. And like whoever wrote that recap for Vulture, like
block that out.
She was also in the bikini. She was also in her bikini in ancient Egypt, or the Egyptian, the Egyptian pyramids.
Maybe I was cheap and just watched it on FX. You know, like sometimes.
She was like going in and out of those pyramids. She was like going into those ancient pyramid like burial grounds in that little bikini.
Wow. Lord.
But so needless to say, I was like happy that like we didn't need to cut this with a joke. It was like heavy, and it was heavy, and like Kamala's kind of mostly just like holy shit. Yeah. You know, she doesn't like, she's not being sarcastic, she's not being whatever. She's just like the way you would be, where you would be like, fuck, what is going on? Yeah, like, how did I get here? And like, you know, she very quickly realizes exactly where she is. She sees the train says Karachi on it. Like she realizes it. And like you said, she goes up to the top of that train so she can see everything. And it's like intense, right? Yeah. And they don't need to have Psylocke in her bikini or Magneto grunting and blowing up. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of like let you see what's happening. But yeah, no, I feel like I was a little critical of this, but I still do love the show, and I still
like. That's your job. That's why the people listen in. They want your analysis. They want your in-depth thoughts. You know,
you're allowed to rip apart the things you love.
Yeah,
I know, but you know that on Twitter, Alex especially, people don't always.
I love to rip apart the things I love.
I just watch TV and don't. I'm afraid of the internet.
That's you. Being not extremely online is such a blessing for you, Sarah.
I don't know, because sometimes I'm like, is anyone reading my stuff, right? But I don't know that if I tweet about like, wow, Olivia Munn, what a beautiful lady, but where's her armor for her legs and X-Men Apocalypse? I don't know that that's really going to be like, wow, I'm going to check out this lady's books. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I've relinquished control now. There's so much that's out of my control that, you know.
Well, don't worry. I still order your books. I order them into the store.
Aw, thanks. You and my mom keeping me going. Yeah.
We just got in. I reordered. This is what
tell me again how a crush should feel.
Yes, hey, awesome. And I was excited when I saw it in the cart in the back. I was like, "Oh, I ordered this for my LGBT section."
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah,
that's so important these days. I'm really sad and scared about a lot of these. You know, library pride displays being damaged and books being taken, and it's a really scary time.
We had this fucking like middle-aged white lady come up to these two girls that were teenagers that were just browsing the LGBT section that like I maintain, and told them she would pray for them.
Wow.
And like it was funny because I gotta say the teens are a lot lot more about about this shit.
I've been like, they came over. Pray for you too, lady.
They came over and they were like,
you have a better haircut.
Right.
There's always people like that. I don't know what that is. It's like I can tell what side of things they're on based on their their jacked up hair. I don't know.
You know what this woman looks like. Yeah. And like the teens were super cool about it. They were like, we don't want to cause a problem, but like that lady might bother someone else. She came up to us and she was going to pray for us and that Jesus still loves us. We just need to pray. And I was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. And they were like, no, she's an idiot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like they were very whatever about it. Like me and my boss were more pissed then, but like,
well, of course too, because you want customers to feel welcome, right? So and for anything, like you wouldn't want someone who's like in the horror section,
right?
Like that lady come up and be like, "Oh, you're reading about I don't know, like we're gonna pray for you," like and be like, "I like vampires. What about it?" Like, but I guess you don't have that problem in like the nonfiction section.
Yeah.
Like someone reading a memoir about like someone traveling to Italy. Like that lady's not like, I'm praying for you that you can go on that trip to Italy,
Okay, well, we are at the end. Alex, what was your favorite scene?
I mean, fight scene with fighter boyfriend.
Yeah.
But also, now that you made me think of it, when this hold on, please. Namja? Is that her name?
That's the bitch baby's mom. Right? Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. Let me double check just to make sure. I'm typing this 1 second. Najma. Now you convince me that when Najma is like, yo, girl, you gotta go home. So I'm just gonna leave you here. That is kind of the best scene now. It's my favorite scene.
You made your choice, bitch. I've gotta go.
She was just, I am a businesswoman. This is a business decision. Bye. See you in 300 years.
I have things to do.
Sarah, what was your favorite scene?
Gosh, I guess, yeah, any of the scenes with Kamala and Nani, but I think for me the big one was Mooney. Is that her name? Kamala's mom. It's short for her and Nani having a heart to heart. I think that was really,
yeah.
I don't know, because it just, like, you could be watching any show,
right,
and still get something from that scene. You know, like, you don't have to know about the lore or the superhero stuff or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it was a very just an emotional scene,
and that's what this show has been doing really well, right?
Yeah.
Like these scenes that like don't require any like superhero stuff all work so well, and they could be like their own show. Yeah, for me, it's a tie between. I actually like the scene with Nani where her and Kamala are like sitting in her room where she did all her art, and she's like talking, and how she's just like, yeah, you're a djinn, so what? Like, she's like very whatever. That, and then I do like same thing as you, Alex, her with her fighter Red Dagger boyfriend. I was like very charmed by their like meet cute superhero kind of fight, but not fight. And I liked seeing her actually be able to like hold her own, because last time when the wedding was attacked, you know, and understandably she was more just like scared and running. But here she was able to like fight and do stuff, and then we got
a big fist. We got 2 big fists, I think.
Yeah,
and a cool mask. Also, Ian, like I think, and I don't want to presume anything, but your liking of that scene, like when you were describing your grandmother on your mother's side, your maternal grandmother, when you were like, oh, I came out to her and she's like, okay, I made empanadas.
Yeah,
I feel like that's very much like you're a djinn, so what? Like, it's you know. Like that kind of feeling.
And I'm always like, the way she is with Kamala is very much the way my grandma was with me. Like, I remember I didn't want to go to college, and like my grandma Panchi was like, "Ay, Alicia, be quiet. He doesn't need to go to college then. If he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go."
Yeah.
Of course that didn't fly, and my mom made me go, whatever. But like any decision I made, my grandma would be like, "Great." When I started painting my nails, she was like, "Ah, do you always have to do black? Can't you do a nice color?" Like, she wasn't like mad that I was painting my nails. She's just mad that it was always black.
Did you change the color or no?
I didn't know. Sometimes I would do different colors, and she would like that. But yes, you are right. There's like a transference going on there. What grade do we give this episode, Sarah?
Based on all of them so far, I mean, I'd say like a B plus.
Okay,
is that fair. Too low?
No,
because I feel like the show's great, and I'm so proud and happy of everyone who's involved, and like that many of the creators share a lot of the aspects of the characters that they're portraying. You know, like that's so cool, and I want these people to keep working forever and do whatever they want and live happy full lives. So I should give it an A. But your program, the people want to know. The people want to know our insight and thoughts. Even though I don't write for TV, I wish I did. I'm going to give it a B plus. Yeah.
Okay. Alex, do you love being on an episode where two people where it's two Ians? Just me and Sarah both have all the feelings.
Yeah, I guess I could be mean to both of you.
Alex,
B plus. I think it's a B plus.
Sorry, what were we saying, Sarah?
Oh, I said I found Alex to be quite charming. It wasn't mean at all. Just
he's charming.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. One of my favorite charming hots.
Oh,
duh. I'm just mean sometimes.
Just sometimes. I think I also give it. I think I say B.
Wait. Can we do a different? Can I introduce a different wrinkle into this system? Do you think that Carol Danvers will show up at episode 6?
She better.
I was wondering that. I go back and forth because I don't want to hype myself up, because I would love it, because I think of how excited Kamala would be, And like, I probably would cry because I do love Carol. I know she's like polarizing. I do love her. And I've loved Kamala so much that I would be so excited for her. Like, that'd be like for me if Buffy Summers were real and I got to meet Buffy Summers, you know, like, so I don't know.
That would happen in like a Miss.
Wait, I want your answer right now. Based on episode 4, is she coming in episode 6?
I would like that to happen. No, I do not think that will happen.
I feel like Brie Larson's too expensive and she's doing all those car commercials now.
Because they haven't gotten her for a lot of like, the only movie that she's done the small cameos in are, what was it, Infinity War and then Shang-Chi. But I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
I think she's showing up.
You do?
She hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah.
She had, like you said, she was in end credit scene, in Shang-Chi. I think she's showing up. I don't think you can I do not think you can have this show love Carol Danvers as much as she does, even though sometimes it's very go on girl, give us nothing with Carol Danvers, right? like it's very like, okay, well, you know, like, I mean, let's be honest, like,
I love her.
She hasn't really been giving us anything.
Yeah. I mean, she
doesn't really get to do much either.
I was gonna say that's my thing, is that she doesn't get to do much because like I think she's great, but like even in fucking Endgame, she shows up, she does do a bunch of good punches on Thanos, but like doesn't really do any, right? Like,
no,
but it doesn't make sense because how powerful she is, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
but
so you do take care of all of it. But maybe
I think she needs to show up. She needs to show up for just like a little bit, just to be like, let's keep it, like, you did a good job. Let's keep this going.
All right.
And I think we need to see. I think we need to see why Kamala loves. We need to see some justification of like why Kamala loves her so much, right?
Yeah, I would like that. Yeah,
and we need to be like, and you know what, Brie Larson, if you're listening, show up.
Hey,
goddamn, show up. Film something on Zoom. Film something on Zoom.
That should be a little video message that she sends Kamala.
She's just like, "Hi, Kamala, it's me, Carol."
That's it.
Nice job with the gin.
Your dad bought this cameo, so I'm so proud of you.
I really love your mask.
Hey, Brie Larson's agent. Brie Larson and Tessa Thompson's agents are the only Marvel agents to ever even respond with a no when I've queried them for their clients. So maybe Brie Larson would do it. Well, thank you both for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can subscribe to our Patreon, where we're covering Harley Quinn Season 2, and I'm trying to finish it before Season 3 comes out. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh my God, can you invite me to Season 3, please? Harley Quinn is like my fucking favorite thing.
Yeah, of course. I imagine you both have been on for a couple of Harley Quinn episodes. I've been meaning to.
What a brilliant, fun show.
Yes.
Right? Honestly.
Agreed.
So what Alex is saying is y'all should subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon so you could just listen to people talk about one of the best shows on TV.
Yeah. And if you want to follow Slayerfest 98 on social media, we are at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I'm at Ian X Carlos. Alex, where can everyone find you and your writing?
I'm at Vox, vox.com. I write about everything. Tune in next week. For one of my articles, I'm doing some service journalism. I asked people how to be better daters, how we can all be better daters.
Oh,
wow.
Probably
weird, right? I usually cover comics, but I'm doing some general good.
She's branching out. I'll have to read that article. Sarah, where can everyone find you and get your books?
Sure. So I actually have a website now, but the algorithm hasn't caught on, so it doesn't show up on the first page. And I'm like, oh no, I got to figure out the SEO. But it's www.sarafarizan.com, and you can find out about 2 of my books that are both coming out on August 30th. One is for comic book fans. It's a middle grade graphic novel from DC Comics called My Buddy Killer Croc. So it's about a kid who's new to Gotham and gets bullied a little bit. And so he's mentored by Killer Croc. And so we'll see how that goes.
That sounds so cute.
Yeah, I hope people will enjoy it.
Are all his solutions just eat them?
No, you have to read it to find out. It's actually a lot sweeter and I think fans of that these characters will enjoy it, even if it's more like emotional than they're used to seeing him. And the other book is a young adult horror comedy called Dead Flip, about literally outgrowing a friendship in 1992. And there's a pinball machine that may or may not eat people. So,
love that.
Yeah. So hope people check it out.
Cool. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.